Okay, so here we are still in the middle of turn 6 of Twilight Imperium, I believe. A lot of the actions have been fired off this last round around. Let me see. I don't know what we have. I got stupid birds. Logistics was fired off. Trade already had been. The technology was used at this point. The warfare was used in order to return the counter from here so that these could go forward up into here and make an attack. Of course, when they do that, they get shot at again by the PSDs, something I haven't really been too careful about because the way the ruling on that, the rules are written on that, is just very, very, like most of this game, not terribly well handled. The way it's actually handled in the PDS system itself, rather than in the technology that seems to allow this. Under Space Canon, there seems to be a general rule, the PDS, but acquiring this, okay, fine. It's always fired during the third step of the activation sequence and only given one of the two conditions. I don't know, it may just be me, but I found it very difficult to realize what the two conditions were. Actually, they're what I thought it was before I went back to refer to the rules. But the way the rules are set up, there's just too many words and it's not easy to collect what the 2 points are because there's paragraphs there. The bullet points with paragraph separations, and it didn't work for me with a page separation. Anyway, turns out you can shoot when you trigger the area or when someone else triggers the area, but only at them when they do so. Which is actually what I thought it was, but ended up playing not as that during the key critical phase where this guy was actually in trouble, as opposed to now where he's just doomed. So his strategy may not have been bad. It's just, you know, looking at the roles and trying to decipher, trying to quickly grab the information from them as a reference book was such a failure for me that, and of course, the other aspects of it, the size, etc., doesn't help my mood when I'm trying to grab a quick piece of information. I mean, I shouldn't be flipping through something this large. It's like Life magazine. Totally useless. You know, when I want a reference, I want something that I can hold on my lap and read, not something that flops all over the place and I can't concentrate on all locations. Enough of that. Gotta calm down with that. But that's, you know, it's the components that kill this game for me. It really is. Between the rule book and the plastic pieces, they have really decreased my pleasure greatly. Another thing, of course, though, is the Eurogame aspect. Playing it for the first time on video, really, really tough. I go, you go type games, no problem, but I'm always going to have trouble with games where people are kind of doing one thing and then passing and supposedly thinking during the other people's turns or something. Even when I'm sitting in the game, in an opposed game, I'm going to have trouble with that. Okay, now where... I was in the middle of something before I got ranty again. Damned if I know what it is. Yeah, I don't know. But other things are going to happen. Some things happened this turn. No, seriously, the general flow is still this sort of deadlock. You know, you got green and black both positioned. Green moved their forces there to help dissuade black from attacking them. And it may actually work. Black's got other avenues that are more open down here against blue, for example. They've also got a big hole here where they might see red hitting them. They're worried. And red was considering, do I hit here, do I hit here? Because I can't go forward. And I've got actions that I know would work in a war. So I want to trigger one, you know? I want to keep fighting, but I can't fight the guy I'm fighting right now because it's so hard to get to. Once I jump on planet, all right, now what? And just the way the actions pulse, I feel like that's almost a natural factor of the game is you do something, you do as much as you can against someone, and you've still got capacity to do stuff against other people, and you get tempted to go invade someone else. I don't like that flavor. You know what it reminds me of? It reminds me of Cosmic Encounter, which is a fine game and all, but it's not what I want when I want something that's got a good storyline and has a map and pieces on the board and everything. There's a lot of things about this that I'm really not feeling terribly pleased about so far. All right, let's go on. Worrying less about the mechanisms than the effects. Black just opened up the next round, taking Tiba. Blue had a dreadnought above that got destroyed. Whether this is war or not is hard to tell, but it certainly is a scary situation for the blue player because there's now a fleet. This was kind of a blocking space, almost a buffer zone that prevented anything from happening, but now black's moved forward. Now, whether or not I had moved here before this turn, I don't remember. You know, I think I did it last turn, but this kind of pulsed movement just really throws me. Yellow just launched an attack with everything they had, and they were defeated by the Red Admiral. Now, they actually were numerically less, but the reason they did it was because they want to produce here, and it seemed like an attritional move. They thought they'd do more damage than they did. It turned out they didn't do much at all. They damaged the Dreadnought, but there are a couple of cruisers and a carrier left. It does take some of the pressure off from here, but it makes this very threatening. And the question is, can anyone trigger an action? Can black or red trigger an action before yellow can build here? Blue launched an attack down here. Mutual elimination of the navies. Big ground force for blue aboard the carriers died. Looks like a win for black to me because there was definitely a heavier blue fleet. It had a dreadnought and all those ground units that died that went in there. Whereas the blacks lost mainly some cruisers and a carrier. Well, I was right about one thing. Going into all the mechanisms and thinking about them and trying to describe them prevented the game from being what it should be. It's being what it should be now. You know, this is what I imagined it as. Red just went in and took a planet from black. It's almost this chaos of battle. Now, when I was trying to formulate strategies and discuss them and everything, rather than just, hell, let's just attack. You know? This is a situation where Red had a fleet, had a slight advantage, wanted to take the chance, but they didn't want to break the trade agreement, which is now broken. And they also didn't want to, you know, anger black, etc. But as we're seeing the violence escalating with black moving into here, as we're seeing people getting less cautious, well, it just sort of domino effects. And, you know, okay, black's weakened. Great, I'm going to take them on. And now black's really weakened. And with a red threat right on their border, their only fleet existing is way up here. Meanwhile, red hasn't lost anything on their hold against against yellow. So this worked very well for them. Attacking is often, from what we've seen, very painful. This was one case where it was not. Red was able to gain what I see as a significant advantage because of other people's getting tired of things. But it certainly made me happy to see a full-scale assault starting there, and all this violence and chaos, because truly, you know, trying to keep track of all the different actions and operations and describe them prevented me from having the fun of just charging forward, which is what I would eventually do with a game like this, because I think it's what it's meant for, to tell you the truth. Anyway, on to the final player. Well, the blood's definitely in the water. Basically, with the obvious falling of the Letnev player, we're seeing everyone who can reach them preparing against them. Yellow built up a fleet primarily to face red again. That we knew about. But Reds made their attack, which we saw. But now even green and blue positioned itself with builds for an attack coming through here. Just a carrier and some troops. All they plan on doing is occupying these planets. And then maybe saying, you know, we're not really your enemy here. Their main naval thrust is still going to probably be trying to wipe purple off the map. But there's no reason to refuse something this cheap that's left open for you. But even green has built up forces, done multiple build actions, preparing to just take this area. Now after that, maybe they want yellow. But they want to get black out of there at this point. They've started that war. They don't want it to not end. What we're not seeing is the free build action being offered to anyone yet. It's got to happen pretty soon because green's out of command chits, but everybody else is running pretty low too. So, and people are doing builds using their regular command chits, so they're not going to have the same opportunity that maybe they'd like. You know, I don't know. They're not going to have as many points to spend on whatever planet they activate, basically. Okay, so things ended pretty much there. Everybody had to pass except for there's Cha, which ended up playing the Imperial option. A couple of people built off of it. Letney built a couple of cruisers. Yeah, that may be it. Oh no, the massive pile of ground forces. That's going to be almost impenetrable until bombardment through the PSD can be done, or PDS, or whatever it is. So that's going to be a real bottleneck to blue ever being able to knock them out. If they want that planet, that's going to have to be their goal, is to do that bombardment. Otherwise, they may be able to come to some sort of agreement with purple to let purple out in exchange, you know, maybe an alliance against green or something, who looks quite potent right now. Speaking of which, green's action was the Imperial. They took their victory points for that. They pumped them up to 3. And now we got everybody at 3 and 4. The new thing is I spend 6 trade goods. That sounds really, really easy. I mean, some people definitely have that. Letnev is a little short, so they won't be doing that. But it looks like the Mentax could pick that one up, and maybe the Cha. And well worth it. I mean, a victory point is tough to get. So I would definitely say if somebody's in that position and doesn't have another victory point that they can gain. Now, of course, yellow has one waiting for him right here. All right, let's do the status and cleanup, and maybe I'll come back after that. Well, the choices have been made, and we can see for most players, fleet supply is really important. They've got big fleets in play, or plan to have big fleets in play. Some people are even, you know, kind of low on the others, especially the Xtra. They really are considering the logistics action to get a pile more of commands. They probably want to favor that. Victory points moved slightly. A few people picked them up. Yellow and orange are now up at 5 in the lead, with green and purple at 4. Purple is still had so many, but they can't get any more. They're bottled up right now. Yellow, scoring their points off this. They didn't take the trade good one. They can probably get that at some point given who they are. So they're moving along pretty well. Who else? Well, orange was definitely grabbing them up. What have they been picking up? They didn't reveal. I don't know why they have so many. 5, huh? 1, 2, 3, 4. I don't know where their extra point came from. Yeah, I don't think they have that many. Bother. It probably means I gave points someone else had, so. 1, 2, 4, purple, 1, 2, 3, 4. Red, yellow, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. They missed their bonus. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, I think orange got bumped ahead somehow because I can't justify their points. So yellow's still in the lead, even though they got their Imperial action zapped, essentially. And now we go to the picks, and I think again, I see no reason purple's not going to take the Imperial action. You know, they got a chance of winning. Still, they might as well score their points. There's not much else they can do anyway. And likewise, the Luzik, they want their shot at it again, so they're going to take the 1 level. We'll diss those out and see what happens. This is getting loaded up, though.